Hey friends, it's Mike. It is April 7th, 2021. And before I get started, if you are new to the McCartney and Beatles conspiracy and are lost as to what I'm presenting, there is a link in the description box below for a video I put together titled The Essentials of Paul is Dead. The video combines two of my presentations along with a roundtable discussion on the conspiracy. Watch that first, along with my presentation on whether the Beatles wrote all their own music. That link is down below as well. The total watch time for both videos is around 8.5 hours, but I promise you, you will be up to speed once you take a look. Okay, and now on to business. This is a follow-up to my last video titled The Memoirs of Paul McCartney, Disclosure Moves Forward. Tom did confirm he is managing the Memoirs of Paul McCartney website, which can be found at memoirsofpaul.com. And in the email exchange, I said with the number 10 appearing, that it seems to me that Billy is wrapping things up, and Tom responded with, I agree with you that William is wrapping things up. From how I interpret page 13 of Memoirs, I would expect to see more of that for the next 2 years. So Tom's response is pointing me to the date of February 21st, 2023. I have discussed this date before and explained that I thought it's possible the date represents when Billy is free of his obligations to play the role of Paul McCartney, meaning he can retire and ride into the sunset. But now, maybe it means more than that, and it is actually signaling the day he departs this world. When I decoded McCartney 3, there were occulted clues which told me his runway is short. And then with the new website, the Memoirs of Paul McCartney, promoting both his new box set along with memoirs, basically combined marketing, we see the number 10 emerging again. The date of February 21st, 2023 does present some interesting numbers when I calculated the number of days between Billy's date of birth, which I believe to be September 9th, 1937, and February 21st, 2023. Now, I did an exercise like this in my Decoding McCartney 3 video based on what I saw as possible clues that Billy embedded with that album. So let's run that portion of the video again, and then we will look into page 13 of Memoirs and the date of February 21st, 2023. I also noticed the sky and cloud symbolism on the back cover is very similar to Lennon's Imagine album, which was released in 1971. Within 9 years of releasing Imagine, John Lennon departed. This got me thinking, is the sky and cloud symbolism a clue as to how much time Billy has left in the physical world? Let's play with some numbers and see what we find. Imagine was released on October 11th, 1971. I should note that October 11th was the same day the Beatles began the Rubber Soul sessions. The date is important because it represents triple ones as well as the number 3. Now, set aside whether you believe Lennon actually died or not. From the standpoint of the occultist, a symbolic death and an actual death serve the same purpose as it depicts endings and subsequent rebirth. I should also point out that December 8th, 1980, the day of Lennon's death, reduces to 9/11. We get this by taking December, or 12, which is 1 plus 2, and sums to 3, and then adding the 3 to the day, which is 8, and we get 11. And then, when we add the numbers in the year 1980, we get 18, or 1 plus 8, which totals to 9. So Lennon's death was an encoded 9/11 event. I began to wonder if the 3,347 days from the release of Imagine to Lennon's death could have any occult significance or hidden meaning. So I took a look. Thinking it might be possible that the sky and cloud imagery could be a countdown, I added 3,347 days to the release of McCartney 3, which takes us out to February 16th, 2030, which is a little over 9 years into the future. For those of us who keep a pulse on the controllers and their agenda, we know the year 2030 is a very important date to the elites with regard to their overall deliverables and as an Agenda 21 checkpoint. I then calculated the time between Billy's date of birth, which I have theorized is September 9th, 1937, a date that also regroups to 9/11, and the date of February 16th, 2030. And the result is intriguing. If we round the numbers, we get 33,000 days between Billy's date of birth and February 16th, 2030. This time frame can also be calculated as 92 years or 1,109 months. Since rounding is very common when we discuss age, I found it interesting that the calculations resulted in the numbers 33, 11, and 911. Now, this is not a prediction. It's a what-if exercise I decided to run based on the sky and cloud symbolism on the back of Billy's album and the cover of Lennon's Imagine. I'm thinking there might be a correlation since nothing the controllers do is left to chance and everything they do is based in the occult. When folks have asked me my thoughts on when I think Billy might depart this world, I lean toward 90 because of his fixation on the number 9, but 92, which reduces to 11, works just as well. Okay, so that what-if scenario from my Decoding McCartney 3 presentation projects out to February 16, 2030, and has Billy theoretically passing at 92 years of age. And of course, 9 plus 2 equals 11. But now let's read the first 2 paragraphs from page 13 of the second edition of Memoirs and see what it says. Almost everything about me taking Paul's place was made possible because of the series of dreams that Paul had, showing his death and me replacing him, and my own dreams of Paul showing me how. First, let me, William Shepard, or Billy Shears, tell you of a more recent dream. I want it told before I die so that you will know I knew. After discussing my undertakings in his name, Paul said, "You will be released on the 21st of February 2014. I asked for a 9-year extension for more tours. Since I needed to see my Utah base in Coda one last time, a tour would include it. Until I am done, this book will be distributed on a level that will keep it down. We will keep it underground until I am." Note in the last sentence, Tom wrote the word will with a capital W. Is this a nod to Crowley and do as thou wilt? Something to ponder. So the original date of when Billy was to be released, whatever released means, was February 21st, 2014. I thought release was when his commitment to play the part of Paul McCartney would end and he could retire. I was not leaning toward a date of when he would pass. By the way, if Billy had passed on February 21st, 2014, he would have been 76 years and 5 months. 7 plus 6 plus 5 equals 18, and 1 plus 8 equals 9. So it just continues to be very weird. I bolded out the 2 sentences where we get the date of February 21st, 2023. The original release date, per Memoirs, was February 21st, 2014, and then he asked for a 9-year extension. And yes, he is telling us he is getting this information from the great beyond. I will leave it to each of you to decide whether you believe in communications with the other side. What is relevant is the 9-year extension he tells us he received, which takes us out to February 21st, 2023. And as I will show you, the numbers continue to roll along. But first, I want to call out the word stacking. These are the words bolded out in red and blue. It says, everything was made possible because Paul had me, William Shepard. I knew Paul. I am that I am. What Billy is telling us is that Paul McCartney, as I explained in a number of my videos, is a graven Christ figure who died and was resurrected through Billy. This is the basis of the Luciferian cult of Paulism that is presented in Memoirs. This is why Lennon said in an interview that by 2012, Paul will be Jesus. There are occultists and astrologers who believe the age of Aquarius began on December 21st, 2012, and the Aquarian age represents the rise of the Phoenix or Lucifer. Billy is also telling us that he knew Paul, and in fact, in Memoirs, Billy tells us he was introduced to Paul via Denny Lane in 1962. The phrase, I am that I am, is also interesting because it is a reference back to the Bible and Moses and the story of the burning bush. When Moses asks Yahweh what he is to say to the Israelites when they ask why God sent him to them, Yahweh replies, I am who I am, adding, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So is Billy telling us he's a god? It sounds a bit Crowley-esque if you ask me. Okay, so let's look at the numbers now having to do with the date of February 21st, 2023. When I calculate the number of days from Billy's date of birth, again, which I believe is September 9th, 1937, to February 21st, 2023, or the date with the extension, we get 31,212 days, which sums to 9. On February 21st, 2023, Billy will be 85 years and 5 months. 8 plus 5 plus 5 equals 18, and 1 plus 8 equals 9. When we add the numbers for the total seconds, minutes, hours, and weeks for this time period, we also get 9. How weird is that? I have often said that I was sure Billy's death would encapsulate the number 9. This is why when I was asked my thoughts on a possible age of death, I responded with 90 years old, which would take him out to 2027. But as we can see, February 21st, 2023 is chock full of 9s. Now let me show you the numerology around the key players associated with the Beatles. This was also very interesting. I decided to play around and calculate the Pythagorean numerology for some of the key players around the Beatles, and lo and behold, we are again presented with 3, 6, and 9, just like Billy's McCartney 3 album, Memoirs, and so many other clues Billy and the Beatles have dropped. Remember, 3, 6, and 9 are considered higher dimensional energy, influencing other numbers, and powerful numbers in the creation and existence of the universe. So starting at the top left-hand side of the slide and then moving across, EMI reduces to 9, Abbey Road Studios to 9, George Martin to 6, Brian Epstein to 6, Neil Aspinall to 6, Norman Smith to 6, Alan Williams, their first manager, 6, and Jeff Emmerich reduces to 3. I also want to show you something I noticed after I uploaded my last video pertaining to the Gregory Paul Martin controversy with Memoirs. An astute subscriber also left a comment calling this out. Let's take a look. In the Facebook post where Gregory is distancing himself from Memoirs, we have the sentence from his post that says, "I had no clue until I was half into the 18 hours of recording how loony the book was." Well, 18 hours is 1 plus 8, which equals 9, and halfway through 18 is also 9. So Gregory dropped 2 9s in the post. When we invert the 9s, we get 66, or the number of chapters in the Memoirs of Billy Shears. Intentional? I'll let you decide. Okay, friends, that's it for this video presentation. Even though I'm not focused on Billy and the conspiracy as much as I used to, I have said I will jump back in when significant and interesting news comes forth. And with the linking of the lyrics with Memoirs, that to me qualifies as interesting and significant. And let's face it, sometimes it's just fun to try and solve the puzzle. The comments section is open. Thanks for watching and have a great day.